Dakota is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Ranking Member, for having this important hearing. Thank you all for your expertise and sharing it with us. I am the one person at the end of the table who's just lived the long CFIUS nightmare in Grand Forks, North Dakota. And I cannot tell you how disappointing it was, and frankly, how consequential it was for CFIUS after not just the 45-day review, but then another 20 days added to get further information, all of which sends signals, of course, that were missed by local leaders, unfortunately, but only to conclude clumsily non-jurisdiction over an agribusiness 12 miles from a ISR military base and a LEO, low Earth orbiting satellite ground station. It was because the outcome of that was the completion of a sale that should never have taken place. Now, that sale should never have been begun by local leaders, and they should have, listened to a lot of people, including me, prior to the Air Force finally correcting CFIUS's error and stating emphatically in a letter, this poses a significant risk to the Grand Forks Air Force Base. So I'm with all of my colleagues who have said that the Secretary of Agriculture should be a permanent member of CFIUS. If food supply chain isn't critical supply chain, nothing is. Food's so darn important, maybe should be a member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, but we won't. That's another committee I'm on. So anyway, we're deeply disappointed, and I hope we can, and I think we do have strong bipartisan support for strengthening agriculture's role on CFIUS. That said, I want to actually talk about something else for a little bit, and that's the role of domestic energy production and export as a means to bringing global price down. I long for the day when the WTI is the global index, and I think we should do that, and I think we can do that by flooding the market with American oil, for example, and gas, and selling it to our friends and frenemies alike, that will bring down price for all of us. That said, one of the means that I'm interested in, that I've been working on, is a carbon border adjustment mechanism that recognizes the high price that our carbon-intensive companies already pay for a higher environmental standard, as well as other high standards like labor and workplace standards, and joining forces with our friends that have similar standards, and instead of punishing ourselves, punishing and manipulating, hopefully, the behavior of the polluters, which just also happen to be our adversaries in most cases. I favor a much simpler approach than a lot of others because I'm a simple guy and I can understand simple things. But I might just be interested in each of you. I'd start with you, Mr. Wolf, since you've sort of managed some of these tariffs. I call this a pollution tariff. What your thoughts are on the possibility of some sort of a pollution tariff or a CBAM that recognizes our high cost of production?
Apologies, it's not an issue I focused on or thought about, so I'll defer to my colleague.
All right, Mr. Lowry.
I think it's an interesting issue. It does strike me that you're going to have to then start thinking about how to come up with a price for carbon, and that's been, as we all know, it's a dicey issue. It's hard to do, and we're not there yet. So in order to have some sort of a border adjustment mechanism, I think you're going to have to figure out how to find a price for carbon.
What about what Europe has done to this point? I wish they would have. I wish we could have caught up, or we could have done it in sync with each other. Clearly, price of carbon sends up all kinds of red flags, especially in my energy-producing oil, gas, coal-powered state of North Dakota, but this is again where I think, can we find something that doesn't punish our own clean producers, but changes behavior? And Mr. Singh, thoughts on the possibility?
Sure. Senator, yeah, I think there are two approaches out there. One is, do you set the tariff by your cost of regulatory compliance? That tends to be the European approach. The one that I think has more appeal is, how much have you actually done to reduce your emissions as a country? That's what matters, right? And so depending on how much progress you've made in reducing what actually impacts the environment, that determines the degree to which you impose a border adjustment tax. So I think that that's a tool. I think you're right, Senator. This is a tool that we need to think about and refine. To my mind, the latter approach is the way forward.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you.